Hi. So about 3 odd years ago, I created this very old tutorial on how to mod your in-game text, where this required you to use a VPK tool, of which I used a Discord CDN link, which is expired. This
Wait, I'm gonna show you how to mod your.
had my old horrible microphone. And use the VPK tool to set up extract files and repack. However, since then, we've gotten newer, better, easier ways to modify your in-game text. So what I'll be covering today is modifying your in-game text and being able to modify your crosshairs so that you can customize those features however you like. The link to the GitHub repository will be down in the description, as well as with a little installation guide and how to modify these with a little tutorial on it. It's not extensive because, first of all, I don't know everything, and second of all, there's other information sources to find, but hopefully this can get you somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Northstar modded client for Titanfall 2. We're going to install the Vanilla Plus extension for that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to, I've made a template for you, but we're going to basically put our own mod into the mod loader and load that, which should modify our game text. I'll only do a game text example here. I will skip over the crosshairs. If you need any help with the crosshairs, you'll probably find plenty help on the Northstar server. Or you can join mine and ask for help there, but we're not as active in Titanfall as we used to be, so that's up to you. So, how to install Northstar? I'm just going to grab the latest release. There's a link right here, and there's a link in the description. And then for Vanilla Plus, we also want to grab the latest release, which is just going to be the source code. So, now that we have our two files, what we're going to do is we're going to just open this, and we see there's a bunch of files in here. So, first we'll want to open our Titanfall install. For this, I'll be using the EA app. However, there's also a way you can do it on Steam. I'll show you how to get there quickly in a moment. On the EA app, once you go to the properties screen using the manage button, there is an open folder button here. What I'm just going to do is get this over. So this is my install folder. It looks slightly different because I've had Northstar installed in the past. To get here on Steam, let's use the example of Balatro. You right click this, manage browse local files. That gives you your install files for a Steam game. Now, what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to grab not this one, we need the Northstar files. It'll look like this. We just extract into here. If you're using like a zip, like this is a regular zip file, if you just put it in here, you can also do right-click, extract all. Make sure that the files that are inside of here, like the R2 Northstar, are on the same file level as your Titanfall2.exe, or it won't work. If it prompts you to replace files, then replace the files that are already there. Either this is an outdated version, or it's a file that's going to be modified by Northstar, you'll be fine. My number was a little inflated because I had to do a retake on that one. So, now that we have this installed, what we're going to do is we're going to go into R2 Northstar. Now, these folders right here are going to be quite important. What's important to know is that right here we have a couple files. What we've done now is we've installed the regular Northstar client. This will allow us to join Northstar servers, but considering we want to use this on vanilla servers, we need to make sure that this is gone. We're just going to delete all of this. We don't need it. It's not required. We're just going to put something else in there. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our Vanilla Plus thing. Once you open up the zip folder from the source code, it should look like this. You go into it until you find mods, and this you drag into here. So you see how this is inside the mods folder. if you extract that into here, it'll look like this. The first thing you'll find is a mod directory with a mod.json, which is good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you which launch arguments you need, and then we're going to start the game to see if it worked. So, for launch arguments on EA, you can already see it right here. We're going to put in -vanilla-northstar to get the game to launch through the Northstar client. You put these in on Steam by going to Properties, and over here are your launch options. So if this were Titanfall, you type in vanilla Northstar, like that. I'm not going to because it's Balatron, it won't work. If we launch the game now, we should see this pop up. That means we've done it right. On the main screen, it will look slightly different, as it will have a Vanilla Plus icon instead of the regular icon. Right there. Now, we can close the game safely, and we're going to actually get to work. So, I have copies of the files on the GitHub repository right here. I'm going to show you how to mod the in-game text. It is very easy. To get these files off of here, you can just download the code as zip, and you'll get this little package as a zip folder. Well, it's these files with this excluded. And these are the two mods that we need. So if we look into here, we'll see this is a mod with the mod.json. I've tried to supply a little information on how to edit it. And what we're going to do is we're going to look in here now. We're going to go a couple file layers deep. That's just how it's supposed to work. But here we find the language files. Now, these are all the default language files from the game. If there is another mod that is going to modify the text in the game, this will overwrite it. So keep that in mind. But let's say we want to edit the main screen thing. Let's say we want to edit the launch multiplayer button to say something else. My game is running on English, so I'm going to edit R1 English. Now, I'm using Notepad++ for this, which is something I think I've also linked on the GitHub repository, because it's a nice text editor, but we're just going to look for this. Now, what we can already see in the file is there is a lot of stuff going on. It's a very, very long file, but it's split into two segments. We have the left-hand side, which you may not edit this. If you edit this, you will brick your game. Don't do it. On the right-hand side, we have stuff we can edit. So let's say we look for launch multiplayer. I type this in, and now we have launch multiplayer. I'm going to replace this with text mod test, and I'll keep that as that. Okay, sure. I'm going to save it, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and copy this and paste it inside of my mods folder. So we had Vanilla Plus in the mod folder already with the mod.json one layer. It should still launch successfully if everything went okay. And we'll be able to see a piece of text on the main screen being changed. From my experience, the most effective way to find pieces of text that you want to replace is to just use a text editor search feature. You can also see that this has now loaded into here and the mod is working. That's all you need to do. It's that simple. You can just edit the text file from the language that you have for the game and you're done. For the crosshairs, it's a little more complicated because for each weapon, there's a whole bunch of like small little finicky stuff you need to edit, but it is possible to change things. Like, for example, adding a dot to the charge rifle's hipfire reticle. But that's it. That's all you have to do. That's how it works. It's way easier than extracting game files and like going into the files there, then repacking them and replacing them, because now we have a nice convenient mod loader. Well, I hope you can get some use out of this. I'm going to put a deprecated title on that old video and link to here. Have a nice one. Goodbye.